people who have never been raised in indoctrination will argue apologetics, and they get to the end, and the person says, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I have faith. I feel like there's a God. And the atheist at that point, who's never been indoctrinated, just says, what in the world just happened? I just spent 2 weeks online arguing with this person, rebutting all these arguments, looking up scientific theories, providing information, and I get to the end of it, and they say it doesn't matter that you refuted everything, I got to have faith. The reason for that is because this belief was put into them when they were 3 years old, and they built it up from that. The apologetics got layered on later as the reasons for justification for that belief that was already instilled. And like you're saying, once they hit that age where they accept it, they then are looking at the apologetics and questions about the apologetics and not necessarily questioning God. But the thing about Hitchens, which was sort of the same thing, it has to do with these pre-assumptions, and God being the main pre-assumption. It was a video I watched last night on YouTube. It was like a two-part video with I guess it's Todd Friel, I think was his name.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do this interview with Hitchens, and I told Matt I didn't even know who this was, and I was thinking, who in the world booked Christopher Hitchens with this person, because the caliber of the interview was just so not what he's usually put into. So he wanted, the person interviewing was obviously a theist and wanted to say, well, we're going to do this I'll do these 12 questions or however many questions, and we're going to have a hypothetical. What if the Christian God that you reject exists? And we're going to hypothetically say this God exists, and I'm going to give you like the doctrines, and you tell me how that would change your perspective on things. And so he presents Hitchens with all these arguments, about, well, if God made you, then don't you believe that you would be obligated then to do everything that he says? And Hitchens is like, absolutely not. And the guy goes, well, remember now, we're talking hypothetically that there really is this God, and he really is the God of the Bible. And Hitchens is like, yes, I understand, and I don't believe that would give him, he's like, by what right would he be able to then dictate to me everything that I should do? Wouldn't that just be tyranny? And the guy is like, well, but remember, hypothetically, this is the God. And Hitchens is like, yes, I understand the hypothetical is that this God exists, and he is there. And he's just like, well, he made you. He made you. He gave you life, and he gave you this planet. He gave you all your success, and he's responsible for everything in your life. And wouldn't you be obligated then to do everything he says? And Hitchens is like, absolutely not. I would not be obligated. And he's like, but this is a hypothetical where God is real. And Hitchens is like, yes, I understand that. I'm saying that I would not feel obligated to this being under those circumstances. And all through the show, he was like going through the Ten Commandments, he was going through the resurrection and the sacrifice of Jesus for salvation, and down the line, Hitchens is like, no, I would not feel obligated by that, and no, I do not feel like I need to follow the Ten Commandments as, all of them. He's like, I follow some, like murder and stuff, but that has nothing to do with a command from God. I do that for other reasons. And the guy's like, but remember, we're going from a hypothetical that God is real. And it's just like, I understand that we're going through this hypothetical that God is real. I'm assuming that your God is real, and I'm telling you, it wouldn't matter to me what his commandments were. If his commands include that I have to grovel and worship and spend my life praising him because I'm alive, no, I'm not going to do that, and I wouldn't feel obligated to do that. And just throughout, about the 6th or 7th time, this Todd Friel guy said, we're going from this hypothetical. I was saying to my computer, he understands. He understands. Why don't you understand that he understands? And it was just this complete disconnect in Friel's brain where he could not grasp that somebody could understand the scenario that he's explaining and not agree with his own conclusions. It was beyond the pale for him. It was impossible for me. I don't know how Hitchens, however many times he insisted that he did get it, that yes, if this God was real, I would still say this. And Friel his response was always to go back, like Matt is saying, and say, you don't understand what I'm saying. And it's like, no, Hitchens totally understands what you're saying. You don't understand that a person can think differently than you.
I figured out, though, how Hitchens can keep his cool far longer than me.
Oh, he's
I think
amazing.
I'm going to start having scotch on the show.
Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
So, anyway, did that answer your question and then some, Guy?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for taking my
People
call.
forgot you were even on the line.
I did too.
Thanks a lot for calling. We really appreciate it.